Hello there, I'm Scotty, you're not. Welcome back to the Sequel-A-Thon 3. I'm getting a drink of water. It's peach. You know, they changed the logo now. The label. Blue. I think it used to be kind of like that back in the day. With a blue label. Anyway, I'm back with more Sequel-A-Thon 3. We are actually looking at a more recent sequel. I have 3 very recent sequels in this set here. We're actually taking a look at Wrath of Becky, which is a sequel to Becky from back in 2020. So that came out in 2020, and then all that shit happened. And then they just kept saying there's gonna be a sequel. But COVID, and so when are you gonna get it out? Now, the answer is 2023. Now this came out 3 years later. The movie takes place 2 years later, I guess, despite the fact that Wikipedia says 3 years. The movie says 2 years. I don't know, it's confusing. Just go with it. Becky is now gone from foster home to foster home, because that's how it works. But she escapes from her latest foster home. She's living with a woman, an African American woman, and these 3 guys harass her at a diner that she works at. But she's 16. You can work when you're 16, It looks like she works till close, though, and I don't think 16-year-olds can work that late. I don't know. But these 3 guys come in and harass her, so she dumps coffee on them, and then they secretly follow her home, where they kill her African-American caretaker, take her dog, and leave her unconscious. Yeah. It's John Wick. They've decided, the last film was these neo-Nazis came in, killed her father, and she was getting revenge. Okay, this is literally John Wick. If, killing his dog was replaced by killing an old African-American woman, instead of taking the car, they took the dog. So, it's like if they killed his wife and then took the dog, instead of killing the dog and taking the car. It reminds me of John Wick. So now she follows them and gets revenge on them. This was not directed by the same people who directed the first one. In fact, it's directed by Matt Angel, who I know. He directed The Open House, which was not a very good movie, all things considered. This was better. He was also in probably the best 2-part Haunting Hour episode. The Body was the better part, but to have a follow-up to The Body, pretty good. So, yeah. And you have Lulu Wilson coming back to play Becky, and Sean William Scott is the main villain in this. And as much as Kevin James was good in the first one, I think Sean William Scott is good to a certain point. They have a twist that was already obvious from the beginning. And so are these, I want to know, they never specifically say it, are these villains connected to the neo-Nazis from the first one? Because they seem to be in the same vein. Like, one of the guys has a kid named Adolf, apparently. The other one, the one that runs away later, steals the truck, there's a copy of Mein Kampf in the freaking... They're going an extra mile to make these guys, evil. It's in the freaking glove box. You see it there, and you just, it's bad throughout the film, but I see that and I go, oh my god. Okay. The only one, and I think it's because he's the director, which is why he played this character. He wrote this character for himself. The only one that was really redeemable was Sean. played by the director Matt Angel. The other director, I forgot to mention, there's two directors here. Suzanne Coote, which is probably like when he was in, like he directed some of it, and then the scenes where he was on there, she directed it, I guess, maybe. Because he directed the open house. He had one scene as one of the unhelpful cops in that movie, the stupid ass cops in that movie. But yes, so yeah, Sean's character is the only one of the villains that was kind of sympathetic because he didn't know what was going on. There's a whole list of all the people that was working with them, and there was some sort of assassination planned on this Senator Hernandez. And then he finds out there's going to be some kind of insurrection, and he flips out, and he's gone. He's out of here. But of course, Becky's got to be the only one that's on the good side, at least. So, Sean William Scott kills Daryl. Daryl kills him. Okay. The character named Twig, and yeah, his name is Twig. He's the one that has this son named Adolf. Yeah, I don't know why you would. Even if it wasn't linked to the most notorious I'll say terrorists. They were terrorists. The Nazis were terrorists. Notorious terroristic leader in history. Adolf's a stupid fucking name. Okay? I understand it might be German, but Adolf. No, Dolph. Dolph's a good name, like Dolph Lundgren. Yeah, Dolph Lundgren, Swedish. He is Swedish, by the way, which kind of takes his muchness down. I don't know, something about Swedish. If your name is Dolph and you're Russian, that's why he plays Russians, right? Well, Van Damme played Russians early on in his career. He was Belgian, so he was sort of more French than anything. Hell, what's his name? Christopher Lambert played a Scottish man. And they had the actual Scottish man, Sean Connery, play a Spaniard. Because that's believable. Because a Spaniard with a thick Scottish accent talking to a Scotsman with a thick French accent makes a lot of sense. But anyway, back to this. I got off on a tangent because of the name Adolf. Anyway, yeah. By the way, that guy, Twig, he's played by one of the guys from the original Children of the Corn. Malachi. I want to call him Caleb for some reason. Caleb was a little boy. No, that was Joe. I don't know. Yeah, Malachi. Courtney Gaines, I think his name is, right? It's not on here, but yeah. Yeah, so these guys harass her at this diner, right? And then she gets revenge on them by pouring a coffee on. They follow her home, and what starts off as messing with her, and they're like, oh, we just wanted to mess with her, but you're like attacking her basically. And then when her caretaker, Alina, I think it is, when Alina gets involved, this guy, that guy, shoots her. Even though they, are given a chance to just walk away, he shoots her, and then they knock Becky unconscious and take the dog, right? And they're meeting this guy named Daryl in the middle of the woods. That was their whole plan. So she hears them mention in the diner some guy named Daryl. Like, okay, first of all, why would you be talking about this secret meetup in the middle of a diner where people can hear you? They have to, so she can hear them and can go after them. So, right. So, she follows them, and she said there's only 2 Daryls in the town. And this is where I think they made a mistake, because there's a twist. She eventually finds the right Daryl. I'll get to the twist later. Right, Daryl. She starts to take them out one by one. It's down to Daryl and this other guy, DJ. He's the guy that had the Mein Kampf in the freaking glove box. Although is that his truck? I think it is. But he takes off. So it's down to Daryl. This one you think, okay, so the gore in this is pretty good. First of all, for the most part, first dude, the dude I pointed at, that dude, he gets his head bloated off by a grenade. She's like, I would shoot you, but they'd hear the gunshots. And she's waving a grenade. I'm like, are they going to hear the grenade? Oh, no, what she has planned. So, she attaches a string to the grenade, which is wrapped around his head. It's duct taped to his head. And she puts it at the door. She knocks on the door. When they open the door, pin comes out. Head blows sky high. CGI blood, but it's fine. It's fine. And then, this other guy, okay, so she does this thing where, so at the end of the first one, they hinted that there's something wrong with her psyche because she enjoyed killing those guys so much. So they keep going with that here, where she keeps having hallucinations of killing people. There's some guy who complains about how his toast isn't buttered right, and she hallucinates breaking the plate and stabbing him in the neck with it, which doesn't actually happen. And then here, she comes out to take care of Courtney Gaines' character, Twig, with this big lawnmower mulcher device thing. And then it pauses and goes, I wish I could find a key for that. So she just comes out with a machete. And then he's like, well, I have a family. I have a wife and a son. And, you know, he's, I will love women. I will treat women equally if you let me go. Stuff like that. And she's like, what's his name? What? Your son, what's his name? He's like, oh, fuck. It's Adolf. And they're like, oh. And first he's like, oh, fuck. I'm like, oh, he lied. But no, when he's like, it's Adolf, I'm like, oh. He didn't lie. It's just the name is not so coarse. So she's like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. And she hacks the shit out of him with the machete. Like, Jason Voorhees. Try your heart out, whatever. But yeah, so it's down to basically Daryl and her, and then the twist is revealed. So earlier on, she's looking for Daryl. There's only 2 Daryls in the book. She goes to the first Daryl's house, and it's a woman, which they make a big deal about how Daryl is a man's name and should be a woman's name. Daryl Hannah. Anyone? Daryl Hannah? Anyone? Anyone? She's not only a woman, she's a gorgeous woman. And you think you're this woman. I don't know. Oh, she's a woman, she can maybe be named Daryl. Now, I think it's kind of funny that she had a son and named him Daryl after her. Because, you know, she's technically Daryl Sr. and he's Daryl Jr. I don't know if that's how it works with women, but that's fine. But yeah. And she's, like, on oxygen and smoking. So it's made to look like, oh, she's harmless. But I'm sitting there watching them going, yeah, she's in on it. There's something with her. Especially the fact that there's only 2 people in this town named Daryl. There's got to be a connection. Sure enough, the twist is revealed that she is Daryl Jr.'s mother. And I'm like, yeah, of course. Duh. It wasn't that big of a twist for me. I don't think they should have set that up as a twist. I think either don't have that character in the movie or just have them already working together. The twist doesn't work for me. Right? But yeah, she comes in. They threaten the dog. After Becky, like, massacres the hell out of Twig, that's when it's revealed. She's hit with a tranquilizer dart. She wakes up, and it's revealed that the first Daryl is the mother of second Daryl. They threaten the dog, but she's Girl Scout, I guess, and she's able to get her hands free. She busts the chair, and she gets out, and she sprays Daryl Jr. with mace. And then when Daryl Sr. goes to shoot the dog, she throws a knife in her head. And that should have been it for Daryl Sr. I'll get to the ending of this and why it is. The ending of the movie kind of goes downhill for me because it doesn't make a lot of sense. Okay? So, Daryl Jr. realizes his mom is dead and goes after Becky. He dies on one of her traps. And, okay, so, Drum Dum said this is a Home Alone style movie. I compare it to John Wick. I see it more of a John Wick meets Home Alone sort of thing. Like, this one's more John Wick than Home Alone. The first one was kind of like a Home Alone thing. This is more John Wick than anything. Well, there was some John Wick elements. There's a lot of revenge thrillers out there. And this is a thriller. I put it in my horror collection because of the gore, but it would be a revenge thriller. Pardon me. Anyway, so this is where it goes a little bit downhill for me. Becky goes inside to get the dog back. It's revealed that Daryl Sr. is still alive. And he's like, you may stab me, but you didn't get my brain. And she completely shoots in a different direction. I guess I did. And then she sicks the dog on her. I don't think we needed to have that moment in there. You could have just had to go get the dog and leave. You didn't need to have... Like, you're stabbed in the forehead, you're fucking dead. You're not going to get back up. It's not realistic. I know you can say, this is a movie. But still, it makes no sense. Neither does this. We cut to... is it the next day or something? I don't know. She's in the CIA office with CIA agent Kate Siegel. It's Kate Siegel. Kate Montana, I think her name is. Sister of Hannah. I don't know. No, not Sister of Hannah Montana. Kate Montana is her special agent, Kate Montana, and she's talking to her about what happened. And she goes, I got 2 questions for you. If you answer the yes or no questions, you answer no to the first question. I won't give you the second question. You can leave, and we'll forget all about this. The CIA will appreciate what you've done, and we'll forget all about it. You can go on your merry way. Although she's 16, so I'm thinking possibly she'd have to go into a foster home again. But I don't know. But, so we get the first question. The first question is, how would you like to be the youngest operative in the CIA? And I went, no. First of all, this makes no sense. First of all, you have to be like over 18, maybe even 21 to apply for the CIA. You have to go through years of rigorous training to do that shit. And just because this girl is a one-woman wrecking crew, single-handedly taking down a terrorist cell, as they called it, you think you're going to bypass all of that and just bring her in? It makes no sense. She's underage. She has no training. But fuck all that, right? And she says, yes. And the second question is, she wanted to know what the key that she took from Kevin James in the first film goes to. But she says, hell yes. And credits start, and then we cut to the middle of the woods. Douchebag from earlier is stuck in his truck, right? Can't get it started. He hears a whoop whoop car, and I'm like, okay, that can't be her. She's driving. Come on, it's her. And he sees her get out, so he moves a copy of Mein Kampf out of the way to grab a gun. She has a friggin' rocket launcher and blows the fucker up. By the way, she's wearing a suit, and she's wearing like a FBI suit thing and sunglasses, and that's how the movie ends. And I went, okay, any sentiment, any realism left in this movie just went all the way. They are completely going in a far left direction. I'm not necessarily against it, but I do think they're going in a bit of a ridiculous direction with this. The fact that we didn't know anything about that key in the first one, and they didn't tell us a goddamn thing in this one, and they're hinting that, oh, if we do a third film, then we'll tell you. Makes me think they have nothing for that key. It's a MacGuffin that's gonna keep going and going, and they don't have anything. It's reminds me of something else recently that they had asked questions like, Luke Skywalker's lightsaber, where did he get it from? What happened? There's never answered. You know, because they couldn't answer it properly to give us that answer. So I don't know, but I did enjoy this. I'm gonna give it a very low, pretty good. Like as low as you can get without going into middle of the road. It's just right there on the tip. Any lower and going in the middle of the road, but it's I'm gonna give it a pretty good because I enjoyed it. I think almost as more. I think maybe more than the first one, except for that ending. But I'm not gonna really hold that against it. If they want to go in a weird, fun direction, that's fine. It just, I don't know. All believability was taken out of this film to begin with, or at that point, I should say. But yeah. So, what are your thoughts on Wrath of Becky? Leave no comments below. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching. I've been Scotty, and I'll see you in the next one.